Hello, my name is Matt Enns, and I am the founder and head coach of Sovereign Man, a coaching company where we help men restore their masculinity and save their marriage. And today we're going to be talking about the 4 steps to save your marriage. So, what you're going to learn is the 4 most practical steps to figure out what went wrong, why she's unhappy, why she wants to leave, why the relationship is falling apart, and what you can do to fix that in the short term. And we're going to get right into it right now. So, first step and the most important thing you're going to do is figure out what went wrong in the first place. And a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is the difference between how men and women approach relationship and between how men and women interpret different communications in the relationship. And what will have undoubtedly happened if she is almost leaving or she has already left you is she thinks she will have communicated to you very clearly what is wrong in the relationship, and you are not responding to that and not fixing those problems because you don't love her. She will be very confident that that's the case. You don't care. What's the point? Why keep trying? I've already told you. These are the kind of things you're going to hear from her. And what's very likely happened for you as the man in the relationship is that while you might have noticed she dropped some subtle hints or made some little comments here and there, you didn't actually realize that it was as big of a problem as she thought it was. You might not even have realized it was a problem at all to begin with. And so in order to start rebuilding the trust where she goes from thinking it's too late, I'm not going to try, I don't have any feelings for you anymore, back into, okay, maybe I can start working on things again with him, is you have to communicate to her in a way that she understands that you get what the problem is, which obviously requires that you figure out what the problem is. And we're going to get into that too. But what you want to do here is make her realize that what's important to her is important to you. Because in some sense, it's less important that you fix the problem, and it's more important that you communicate to her that you understand the problem, right? Women need emotional validation in a way that men don't understand. Men, when they want a solution, it's because they want the solution. Women, when they come to you looking for a solution, it's not because they want a solution. It's because they want emotional validation. And so if you can figure out what went wrong in the relationship and communicate to her like, hey, I didn't see that this was a problem. I now see it's an enormous problem. So if you can go to her and you say, hey, look, I did not know that this was a problem. You communicated to me in a lot of ways that I didn't really understand. I didn't get it, and that's on me. But I now see what the issue is, and I get why it's such a big deal for you. You don't go into problem-solving mode here. You just communicate that you get it. I get why it's such a big deal for you. I get why you're hurt. I get why you felt you needed out. I get why you felt that you couldn't be here anymore and that I just wasn't trying. I understand that must have been incredibly painful for you, and you must have felt so alone, and you must have felt abandoned by me, and I never want you to feel that way. So I want you to know I understand why you felt the way you did, and I totally get it. That conversation, if you really mean it, and if you actually do get where she's coming from, will do more to heal your relationship than anything else you can do. But there's more we're going to work on. Step number 2 could have been step number 1, but it's easier to explain in this order. Step number 2 is how you can figure out what went wrong. Okay, so there's the 4 S's: safe, seen, special, and supported. One of those 4 reasons is why she is leaving or why she's unhappy. Now, almost always safety is a component. And you can watch my other videos to figure out what emotional safety means to a woman. But emotional safety is always part of the problem. Not something guys understand, not something we really experience. Can't overstate how important it is for them. But in addition to safety, it will also be one or several of the following: seen, special, supported, right? She doesn't feel seen, doesn't feel understood, doesn't feel like you get her, doesn't feel like you care. Supported, doesn't feel like you support her, feels like she's alone, feels like she has too much on her plate, feels like she has to fend for herself, feels like she is alone and she has to always chase you down and get you to do things. You're not proactive, right? She doesn't feel supported. Or special. Women need to feel special. She needs to be the most beautiful, special woman in the world in your eyes. And yes, your daughter and maybe your mom are a bit of an exception to this, but not really. Even though she understands you probably love your daughter more than you love her, and that you'd lay down your life for your daughter before you'd lay down your life for her, she still needs to feel like she is the most important woman. She needs to feel special. Now, if you think back on all of the comments she made to you during your relationship about things she was unhappy with, was it more likely to be like, oh, I always have to do everything, right? That's supported. Or, I hate that you follow all these thirsty accounts on Instagram, right? That's special. You just don't get me. That's seen. if you go back in your mind and you trace back to the fights and the little comments she made about how this husband does this and you don't, or I wish somebody did this, or that horrible comment that lots of women make when they're unhappy in a relationship, which is, my ex used to do things this way. If you can think back on those comments, you will probably find in there the seeds of the ideas you need to understand to figure out what actually went wrong. And again, safety is going to be a part of it, a huge component, central. And also, she didn't feel seen or supported or special. And if you can figure out what that is, go back to step one, tell her you finally get it. That emotional validation will open the door up to healing the relationship and her being willing to work with you again. Even if she's already told you it's over, nothing can change, I don't have feelings for you anymore, this isn't going to work, it never has worked, it's never been that good. Doesn't matter, all women say that when they're unhappy in their relationship, because for women, their current mood represents permanent reality. So if she's currently feeling disconnected from you, she is going to speak about that like it's permanent. So those comments don't actually mean it's permanent. Doesn't mean she can't fall back in love with you. Doesn't mean she has fallen out of love with you. All that it means is in that moment, she's not feeling connected. So even if she said all that, you can still reopen the door and lead back to healing if she feels like, man, my husband finally sees me. He finally understands why I'm so upset. He finally understands that I've been trying to tell him that this isn't working and that things need to change for years. And I didn't just leave out of nowhere, even though I'm sure it felt like she left out of nowhere. She's been trying to communicate this to you for years. And when she finally feels like you get it, the door will reopen for you to start rebuilding that trust. Which is the third step. Rebuilding trust. Now, there are layers to this, and in my courses and coaching programs, we have a super detailed process. I can't communicate that in a short YouTube video, but basically, you want to rebuild trust in stages, right? So depending on where you're at, that's where you have to start. Maybe the trust and connection is so bad in the relationship and she's so checked out that she won't even tell you how it was when she went to the grocery store. Hey, babe, how was it at the grocery store today? Fine, right? That's all she's going to give you. Women, when they trust you, they share more details about their life. If you've ever observed a female-to-female friendship, the closer they get, the more they tell all their secrets, right? So if she's not willing to share with you, that's because she has very, very low trust and connection with you. And you want to start rebuilding that by being a safe place for her. And what this means is no judgment, no anger. If she senses that you are angry at her, she is now made a much bigger, much stronger, much more physically capable, much more violent person, or at least potentially violent person, angry at her. She is not going to communicate openly with you. She's not going to feel safe. It's a crazy, tall order to tell you you should never be angry with your wife, but we cannot understand that for women running around in a world with men who are almost all bigger and stronger and more violent than them, they are basically like prey animals a lot of their life, and they live in a state of fear that we cannot understand and that we do not live in. If you ask the average guy the last time he was afraid, he's going to say 20 years ago or I don't remember. If you ask the average woman when the last time she was afraid, she's going to say yesterday or last week. They live in a constant state of fear. And when a much bigger, stronger, more violent person is angry at them and they're alone in the bedroom or alone in the car, they feel afraid. No effective communication is going to happen. Women have to feel safe in order to connect and trust and feel good in the relationship. And so anytime you're angry or you're frustrated, she is afraid for her physical safety. Even if she knows on a mental level and an intellectual level, you'd never hit her, you never hurt her, emotionally, she will still be afraid. On a nervous system level, she is going to be afraid for her safety. So you cannot be angry. Tall order, I understand that, but absolutely necessary to heal a relationship. Zero anger. And on top of that, no judgment. Even if she says things that are out of left field, completely out to lunch, don't make any sense, logically contradictory, not actually factually accurate, you cannot be too harsh on her, because as much as she might be presenting numbers and figures as if they're what matters, the only reason she's presenting those facts to you is because she's trying to get you to see the feelings. And if she presents some facts to you and you say with your male brain, hold on, no, that's not actually accurate. You said I only did the dishes twice last week. I actually did them 4 times. That's not the point for her. It's the point for you. It's the point for me. It's not the point for her. The point for her is I'm trying to get you to see that I feel unsupported, and you just want to nitpick about how many times the dishes were done. Because again, very different things are important to men and women. For you and I, the facts, the accuracy, the analysis, that's very, very important. We're going to come at it logically, rationally, from a thinking place. She is going to come at it from a feeling place. And so when she's bringing up how many times you did the dishes, Whether or not it's accurate is kind of irrelevant to her. She's only bringing that to you because she wants you to understand that she feels unsupported. So dodge all of the facts she throws at you. Don't engage. Don't try to prove her wrong, because even if you prove her wrong, you still lose. And recognize that she is trying to communicate an emotional reality to you. And if you meet her on that level of the emotional reality, then you have a chance at actually reconnecting with her, because she will feel safe, she will feel understood, and from that place, she can begin to reconnect, she can begin to build trust with you, she can begin to start communicating with you at a deeper level again. And it is only from that place that the relationship can begin to heal. So no anger ever under any circumstances. Even if you feel it, take a break, walk away. Don't let her see you angry. You don't get to do that. Number 2, no judgment. Even if what she says is batshit crazy, your job is to understand the feeling underneath why she's saying that. Why is she saying that batshit crazy thing? Because she's probably intelligent, she's probably rational, and yet she's saying something completely crazy. Why is that? She's trying to get you to see the deeper emotional need. Meet her on that level, because that is the only level she can connect with you. She's not going to connect with you on a factual level. The 4th step, this is more of a bonus, is women have what Alison Armstrong calls a love switch. And what this means is, well, I'll explain it this way. Men fall in love, the love switch flicks on, and then it stays on. And maybe after years of disconnection or being treated poorly or abuse, or years after a breakup, eventually the love switch flicks off. And so again, when it flicks on, it basically doesn't flick off. And if it does flick off after years, it's not flicking back on. Women, radically different process. Women's love switch, even in a healthy relationship, can switch on and off 5 times in a day. Now, to be very clear, this doesn't mean she doesn't love you when the love switch flicks off, but what it means is she doesn't feel love towards you. I've been in horrific fights with Whitney where I wanted to do all kinds of bad things and I was furious out of my mind. But if somebody came through the door with a gun at that moment, I would still lay down my life for Whitney. Women are not the same. When her love switch is flicked off, she is not going to lay down her life for you. And if you've ever seen women friendships where they get in a fight and one of them is on the outs because she did something wrong, they will betray that bitch in a second. They will tell all of her secrets. They will bash her to their friends. Women are very different than men. And so they think we have the same love switch as them, which is why when we get angry, they think, oh no, he's not going to protect me. He's not going to save me. He's going to abandon me. But it's really important to understand this, because when her love switch is flicked off, she doesn't actively feel love towards you. And so that's not the right time to try to discuss a tough issue in the relationship. That's not a right time to try to build a connection with her. That's just a time to either leave her alone or get her in her body, get her happy, make her laughing, spin her around the air, dance with her, do something to get her back in a happy mood where her love switch can flick back on. Because when her love switch is off, what she says doesn't necessarily bear that much relationship to reality. She might say horrible things to you that are only coming from this place of the love switch being flicked off. If she says them when her love switch is flicked on, you can trust them that they're real. If she says things when her love switch is flicked off, much harder to trust, much less likely to be accurate. And it's important to know how real this is. And I'll give you an example that probably everybody watching this can relate to. You're on a date with your wife, having the best time, everything's going amazing, she loves the food, the restaurant's incredible, so excited for dessert, and then like something happens. You don't know what it is. She's not going to tell you what it is, but everything changes. Her facial expression, her body language, her demeanor, everything shifts. She's now bitter. She's unhappy. She's angry. She's a million miles away from you. And all of a sudden, the date night was horrible. The food wasn't that good. The server was an asshole. The lights were too low. The people at the table beside you were talking too loud. You should have never brought her to this place. This was a horrible, horrible decision. How can you not know her well enough to know that she would never want to be there? Brutal. Your instinct is to start arguing with her. Hey, but you just said this was good. You said you liked the food, but hopefully after watching this video, you know not to argue with the facts. But anyway, that's our instinct, is to start arguing the facts. Don't do that. Because what you might have experienced when this happened to you is on the way home from the date, something changes again, and all of a sudden she's happy, and all of a sudden the meal was wonderful, and the server was great, and the restaurant was a big deal, and the people being loud at the table beside you wasn't that much of a problem. That's her love switch flicking on and flicking off. And when you understand this process, you're much less likely to get frustrated by it. You're much less likely to take her really seriously when your love switch is flicked off, and you're more likely to do what you can to put her in a better mood, switch the love switch back on, and then have a conversation with her from that place. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you want to see more tips like this and how to have a healthy masculine role in a relationship, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at _sovereign_man. And most importantly, if you're in the middle of this or you think it's coming, you're probably right. It probably is coming, and you want to avoid it. It is so much easier to start sooner than later. Click the link below, book a meeting with my team to explore the offerings that we have. We have an insanely good track record helping hundreds and hundreds of men save their marriages, all the way from things aren't going that great to we are living in separate states and we are seeing other people. We have fixed marriages in every situation you can imagine. Horrible, horrible stuff. Don't wait for it to get horrible. Don't start when it's too late. Book a call with my team. Let us get you some one-on-one training. Let us show you the courses that we have on offer and get this solved sooner than later. The quicker you act, the quicker it is to fix the problem. Hope this is helpful. Again, my name is Matt Enns. I am the founder and head coach of Sovereign Man Professional Coaching Company, and I help men restore their masculinity and save their marriage. Subscribe, book a meeting, reach out to me on Instagram, whatever I can do to help, I'm here for you.